Okay, good afternoon. We come now to the family of management and operation, and as it relates to wellness. We've selected some maintenance activities and management activities that impact wellness, and we have seen that they have been ignored in some facilities. They have a basic nature, and ignoring them is drastic at the same time. So when we talk about air quality, we are asking for a confirmation that fresh air inlets, where we are using mechanical ventilation, that they are equipped with back filters. So as you see that in the response, there is a not applicable. Not applicable is that you are not using mechanical ventilation. Aluminum air pre-filters are cleaned regularly, and we've required a minimum frequency of annually. Of course, based on the application, you might need to clean them more frequently, but that's a guideline that we'd like to see being applied. Not applicable means aluminum filters are not used. Disposable pleated air filters are replaced and not cleaned. Back filters are replaced and not cleaned. I have seen teams cleaning back filters, which is not effective at all. Cleaning and replacement air filters is initiated after a sandstorm or severe contaminating event. Cleaning of cooling and heating coils is regular and on an annual basis. Cleaning of drain pans is also regularly done, at least annually. Yes?
You're not supposed to clean them. Is this for all types?
All types of back filters, for example. Yeah.
Not the back filters, all types of buildings. يعني عم نحكي offices, residential, hospitals, كلهم تبعهم.
كله مثل بعض is the feature of the back filter itself. If you are using a back filter, this is a replaceable item and not a cleanable item. Air outlets as well are being cleaned regularly, and ventilation air conditioning ducts are inspected and regularly and cleaned when required. Of course, if you're doing your preventive properly, you won't need to clean ducts. We come to water quality. Similarly, we're asking to the roof and outdoor water storage to be opaque. Sand filters and water softeners properly maintained. Chlorine dosing pumps properly maintained. 1 micron filter, UV lamp, or a UV lamp is installed at every drinking outlet. Not applicable if you're using another item of water filtration. Also, water storage tanks are inspected annually and cleaned from sedimentation, dirt, and other debris. Water tanks tend to be ignored completely.
So since we are here talking about the green building,
yep.
Maybe we can favorize not to use chlorine anymore for disinfection.
And make it a prerequisite, you mean?
Hey, not prerequisite, at least you will lose point, but it will not be favorized by this rating system. UV لأنه عندنا نحن particle a lot of organic material. With chlorine it will come as cancerogen.
It's widely used, and actually we have items here for testing endpoints and close points to water tanks. I open other suggestions.
You need a residual of disinfectant in the water. In UV, it will not give you a residual disinfectant. Usually, you need the chlorine or any disinfectant that keeps residual in the water.
UV is at the end point of use.
Potable water, so your tank is stainless steel and the network is completely new. You don't need a residual.
True, but if you keep the water stagnant, pathogens will start building.
No, but just I mean, it is a tendency all over the world to reduce the use of chlorine.
True. I totally agree, but we for the water quality to be in potable quality, we need disinfectant, residual disinfectant.
The ozone can be a solution,
It could-
but it's
it
very
could be.
expensive solution.
But it's so expensive.
How about if we go into like like I know this is very expensive, but like a filtration process, reverse osmosis, or instead of chloride.
You need
صارت حد-
the
ما بتشيل
residual
ولا-
disinfectant to stay in the water.
microorganisms are not covered by
Mainly, whatever we use, the end point needs to be monitored and ensure that water quality at the end, the point of use is at the proper water quality. And this is where we touch on item 8 and 9. So we are measuring the quality at the end points and the farthest points from our system.
سوري بس عندي سؤال شوي حتى نحن السيرتيفيكيشن امتى بياخذها المبنى؟ يعني بتقدم عليها بتكون بعدك بالديزاين
Yeah.
بس عمليا امتى تعتبر خلصت وبتعطيه السيرتيفيكيشن؟ لانه اذا فتنا بهاي معناتها ناطر الاوبريشن يعني انت بعد
I was,
سنتين بعد 3 سنين
I was expecting this question to pop up. When we say this requirement is needed at design and construction phase, we are asking for the procedures and the standard operating procedures and policies to be in place.
من
only.
الديزاين بده يكونوا محطوطين.
Yep.
بيقولوا وحياة الله.
هي بتشبهها هيدي. هي بتشبهها شوي. But at least awareness is there and the training of the maintenance team is done at the construction phase. This is at construction. Well, if that's an existing building, then we need this to be implemented and there's a proof that it's being executed.
اوكي بس بعده سؤالي فاليد يعني عمليا السيرتيفيكيشن رح تنعطى بس يخلص الديزاين ولا بس تتعمل البنايه؟
There is
We have said that there are 3 status for a building. New building in design phase, they can apply for a rating, and the rating will be valid for 1 or 2 years until the construction is done. When the construction is done, so the status number 2, okay, it is rechecked with the new documentation.
اوكي.
All right. So they have the right come in to apply to get a certificate for a rating. تمام؟
يعني
لأنه
اول وحده
between
فاليد
design-
لسنتين.
لأنه between design and construction things might change.
صح.
تمام؟
اوكي.
منيح؟ وبعدين if it is an existing building they can apply for existing building. So all these possibilities are there in the platform. يعني أنت when you are going to apply, you know what is the status of your project. So the sector, you know it. For example, residential. منيح؟ فإذا you choose a residential, in which status?
انا عم بعتبر نيو بيلدينج عندي ديزاين عم بلش
New building في اثنين. You have the possibility of two different status. You have a new building in a design phase, and you have a new building in a construction phase. In which phase are you?
بلشنا بالديزاين.
بنبلش بالديزاين. You apply for the design لأنه في كتير project they apply in the design phase with the will أنه they are going to resubmit for a rating when they have finished the construction.
اوكي انا اي ابلاي فور ديزاين وبتعطيني سيرتيفيكيشن عم بتعيش سنتين للديزاين.
هلا بعد ما قلنا قديش
هي بعد
نص
ما
الموضوع.
اوكي بس انه say سنتين اوكي valid for 2 years لانه انت during these 2 years you are going to start building and finish your building.
اوكي.
ما هيك؟ لما تخلص you reapply لانه the reapplication is not that complicated if you have begun from the start. ليه؟ لأنه the platform will give you the possibility to clone your project. So you have entered all your data in the design phase. You clone your project, you only change the status from design phase to construction phase. تمام؟ And if there are some data that need to be updated, بتروح عليهم you edit them and you update them. وبعدين you resubmit the documentation. لأن documentation will vary. لأنه أول شيء عم يقول لك إنه بدنا إنه you are talking about a policy, you are talking about a strategy. Okay? In construction, some of these strategies that are already implemented in construction phase. There are others that will be implemented when the building will be an existing building, يعني 1 year after you finish the construction. This is the possibility, or this is how we make the life easy on the user, لأنه they can clone their projects. يعني ما بحاجة يرجع يفوت كل الداتا. يعمل كلون، هو بيعرف أي هالداتا غير يقدر يعمل له edit وخلاص.
اوكي
Good.
سوري بس
Yes.
ما في ديدلاين انا وقت بصير بالكونستراكشن فيز واخذ السيرتيفيكت ما في ديدلاين للسيرتيفيكت يعني خلص البيلدينج اخذ السيرتيفيكت.
لا في اكسباير.
لا
maybe.
ما في شيء، ما في ديدلاين.
ما في ابديه.
ما في ولا ريتنج سيستم بيعطيك سيرتيفيكيت فور لايف. ما في شيء. هذا يعني still we did not take the final decision. Okay, there is a business plan that will be prepared, and according this, but نشوف شو competition, what will be our competitive edge إلى آخره. Based on this, we are going to issue certificates. هل بدنا نعطيه لسنتين لثلاثة لأربعة؟ What are we going to do?
هلا انا I know for me انه خلص البروجكت بياخذ get the certificate بس he can apply for recertification.
ما بتروح
This is brief بس انه ما لها يعني ما بعرف انا بالنسبه لي ما لها طعمه.
بالنيد البي ان سي
انه انا بعمل الماكسيموم احسن شيء اول تاخذ سيرتيفيكيت وبعدين بضل بالدنيا. It's not logical.
انا اذا كثير قليل يعني انا بتعب هذا الستيج في بنايات
sorry. انت بعد الثلاث سنين you can reapply. Okay, and the reapplication حتى لو كنت انت existing building, when you reapply it is very easy لأنه we gave the user the possibility to clone the project. يعني بيرجع بيفتح project جديد من البروجكت قديم، هذا project جديد، اوكي، وthey apply as انه recertification. وطبعا هول الفيز تبع recertification بتكون كثير اقل من الفيز تبع first certificate.
هذا اذا راحوا على
يعني انا اذا اشتريت سياره جديده ما رح تضلها جديده معي على طول، يعني بعدين بدها تستهلك، هل انا عم بعمل لها مينتنس منيح؟ هل انا عم شق عليها الى اخره؟
مش هيك في ميكانيك.
ايه مشان هيك
بس بالاول تتشجعوا العالم ما تقولوا بده رح تروح ولا هسه رح nobody will apply.
سوري؟
لا مش هيك
اساسا يعني الريابليكيشن اذا بدهم الاكشوال
بس عرفتي فاهم يعني اوريدي هو جديد ونفر من الاساس عم تقول له انت كل 3 سنين بدك تعيد الشغله انت ما رح تشجع العالم.
يمكن بدهم تكون 4 بس وقت نعيد الشغله بدها تعيد الشغله ما بعرف انا say 20% of its cost or whatever تمام in 2 3 4 working days. هذا بعدين في commitment بعد 3-4 سنين انه نحن حكينا فيها هذيك النهار انه they have to share with LGBC the electric bills و some bills والى اخره. هذا الاساس، ما هو هذا الاساس عم ياخذ very high quality rating تمام مع احترامنا للجميع at a very competitive price. في شيء نحن ناطرينه، في شيء يعني في شيء give and take. اذا ما عملهم هول اوكي معناتها this is a proof انه اخذ سيرتيفيكيت وكبه بزباله وخلص مشي. مش هذا اللي بدنا اياه، لانه كمان بيطلع الفيدباك كثير امباكت عاطل علينا انه اخذ هيدا اخذ ارز ريتنج وخلص ليك ملا بنايه ليك ملا ما بعرف شو ما بعرف. This is a bad impact for us.
I believe انه نحن الريسيرتيفيكيشن فيها تكون بريكوايرمنتس اخف اللي خاصه بالاوبريشن مينتنس. ما نرجع نعيد هذا، لا this is maybe البزنس بلان بيرجع بحددها، بس ما رح نرجع انا مثل ما بشوفها ما رح يرجع يفوت بكل الريكوايرمنتس يلي عم نشوفها اللي موجودين.
Yes.
110 111
Yes, no.
maybe it's selective maybe اكثر خاصه
نحن بالكوميتي we have already think something very close of what you are saying. نحن معك. And this is why one of the reasons Rima please. This is why one of the reasons انه انا اول شيء وقت عم بعمل introduction انا قلت there are two redundant families. اول وحده هي اللي هي management and operation اللي هي بغير rating system عندهم separate the existing building so we can adopt it. بعدين في عندنا يعني ما كثير عم ياخذ حيز من الوقت البونus لانه كمان انا ما بعرف باللايف سايكل اوف ذا بيلدينج يمكن حطوا شيء جديد. They can apply for a bonus. So نحن على نفس الموجة، هيدا هو التفكير. هيدا هو.
استاذ رياض انا كنت بقول شيء كثير قريب لابراهيم انه مثل if you split operation management تعملوها like a certificate لحالها where building operators try to encourage clients to get this sort of certification. The building construction عندك الكونتراكتور عم يلعب الدور انه he's building in a green way. والديزاينر بكون in the design stage, the consultants عم يعمل design in a green way. So صار عندك each section of the you know صار في عندك almost like a company that's offering that service. Either a consultant offering the green, the ARZ certified design, a contractor building, of course with collaboration with the designer, everyone else, but he's building according to that, and then عندك actually maintaining and operating the building. So you, ما بعرف، عم فكر أنا معك I guess in the business plan you have a إذا فينا نعمل something attractive لهدول الشركات they offer this system, this for their clients. And each certificate عندها like a clear definition, and this is ARZ for building, this is ARZ for operation management, this is ARZ for design.
Interesting suggestions. Thank you. Thank you. Interesting. Very interesting.
يعني
في حدا بعد. نحن رح نخلص هذا الكرايتيريون وناخذ بريك.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Take your time.
So now we come to light control, light quality. Here we ask that the light fixtures are cleaned in a regular manner, and annually the light levels are rechecked, and relamping is activated in case there is a low level, not waiting for the lamp to burn out completely to replace it. And the frequency is annually, so I think it's a fair also frequency. We come to fire safety, same discussion as before. We touch on fire exits. I think Ali had a question on fire exits. So fire exits have to be clearly labeled and illuminated with signage. Fire exits are kept clear of obstacles. Exits are not locked and can be opened in one operation. We also look at fire extinguishers. So fire extinguishers are available at the facility. They are inspected monthly, visual inspection, and they are tested annually, operated and refilled. The standard is usually to just inspect them and fill them whenever the gauge is at the zero. The actual requirement is to empty the extinguisher and then fill it again to test the mechanism on an annual basis. Water sprinklers, pressure gauges inspected monthly, zone control valve tested quarterly, and valves are practiced because all valves on fire systems are monitored, so we need to ensure that the monitoring is active. And a fire department connection is checked annually, and fire department confirmed ability to access and connect. Access, so the truck can reach the fire department connection and can actually connect to the connection provided, because not all connections can fire brigade connect to. Fire pumps, so electrical pumps are operated weekly. We rarely see this guideline committed to. Diesel fire pumps operated weekly for 30 minutes. All fire pumps are tested annually at minimum flow rated flow and maximum flow, and the performance is verified against the original pump curve. This is an FPA 20 requirement. We usually install the pump and forget about it. Other firefighting systems that you may have in the facility are FM200, CO2, and other systems. So if these systems are available, the following are required. Systems are inspected monthly. System discharge and releasing circuitry is simulated annually. So this is, we remove the activation head from the cylinder itself and we simulate a fire. And each cylinder pressure and weight is verified annually. Fire alarm. The panel is inspected weekly. Alarms and troubles. Interface equipment with fire alarm are tested quarterly. So you have to practice your fire dampers, operable windows, closable fire doors, elevator recall, staircase pressurization, and what have you. Quarterly. Basically, installing an emergency system needs to be tested between weekly and quarterly. Emergency lights, so these are inspected quarterly, visual, and backup autonomy. If you've requested 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on the standard you're applying, the autonomy should be verified annually. So we switch off power and we time the fixtures. Lightning protection system, this is inspected quarterly for loose connections, visually, and then tested annually. Earthing system, tested annually. Elevators, inspected monthly by an expert maintenance provider. This is a specialized maintenance provider. Emergency device is tested annually, parachute of the elevator, and certified by a third party annually. Not many buildings do that, if any.
What do you mean by autonomy?
Autonomy. So the emergency lights need to operate, for example, for 1.5 hours as per NFPA, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, depending on your design. So this is the autonomy. The battery should be able to serve the emergency lights for that period of time. Battery life will degrade with lifetime. So every year we have to ensure that this autonomy is maintained.
We are in Lebanon, so we have to adapt ourselves here. If you are in Beirut, it needs to be autonomy 3 hours. If you are in...
That's why the design related. So design was addressing the owner project requirements in the commissioning phase. Owner project requirements dictated 4 hours or 5 hours. We need to ensure that this is being maintained through the life of the
Especially now we are dealing with lead, so lead could last longer.
But you can reduce the battery storage.
Yes,
You don't need
of course.
to.
I have one question here. When you are talking about lightning protection, is it necessary maybe to mention that you have a meter for strike? Because now the new lightning...
They have meters.
We need...
They have, you can't, no, I mean, some lightning protection have meters, but the Faraday cage, I doubt they have meter. Maybe the single probe has a meter. And if you're adopting the American lightning protection with several strikes and the Faraday cage on the building, I don't think they have a meter there.
It is because you have two down conductors.
You have multiple.
It could be multiple, so. But meters is quite, it will give you also data, because green building is only to protect and to provide learners and awareness and to give us data.
We can mention in the guideline as a eye-opener that this could be something that you can use for awareness campaigns that we ask for under other maintenance requirements.
حاسس انه هالايتم رايح كثير سبيسيفيك. وبس بالديزاين منه هيدا الكار، لانه مثلا انت ما جبت سيره السولار بانلز، ما جبت في كثير ايتمز ممكن تكون موجوده بمبنى مش موجوده بمبنى ثاني. يعني بتخيل هي كلها بده يكون مثلا والاوبريشن اند مينتنس مانوال لها علاقه بالمانيفاكتشرنج، يعني لها علاقه انت بس تشتري كل مانيفاكتشرنج وعندها غير الاشياء اللايف سيفتي اللي لها علاقه بالكود، بس في اشياء لها علاقه بالمانيفاكتشرنج. انت عم تكون كثير سبيسيفيك، يعني مثل كانه هيدي بدك تشيكها مره هي مرتين، ما رح تقدر تغطي لكل البنايات لكل شيء لكل السيستمز. يعني في مطارح رح تتجاهل اشياء ورح تصيب بمطارح اشياء ثانيه. انا بحس لازم تكون انه كومبلاي مع المانيفاكتشرنج ريكوايرمنت، كومبلاي مع الان اف بي اي ريكوايرمنت، كومبلاي هيك حتى تتركها اوبن وتتركها مفتوحه لكل ديزاينر لكل مبنى، تكون اوبن، مش انه انا حققت ومثلا اوكي سولار بانل ما عم بنظفهم ولا مره وما اثرت عليه، ما خسر ولا بوش.
These requirements are specific, and these requirements have been pulled out from the big maintenance regime, and they address wellness. So maintenance of the solar panel will be included in the energy section under a maintenance section where we list all the systems, similar to what we did for water. So there it is covered under the energy section for maintenance. These activities, I would say, not a full maintenance regime, like we address filters here, but we put air handling maintenance under energy. So for maintaining the air handling unit, there is a bigger scheme. But for filters, which address the wellness, have been looked after at this criteria.
بعتبر مثلا عنده دي اكس سيستم.
Yes.
وين الليكج تبع الفريون؟
Under the X system and the energy.
بس ما هي لها كمان بالويلنس، يعني انا اذا عندي ليكج بالفريون عندي خطر على اللايف سيفتي، عندي خطر على الناس جوا.
Leakage of freon gas and directly to inside the space. Yes, but we are not trying to be comprehensive, but we're trying to put what we see as being ignored in practice.
مظبوط، بس بعمل لك ليه؟ يعني انا لانه بعمل ديزاين، اذا انا مبنى عامله في ار في ما عندي شيء من هذول كلهم، انا في ار في اهم موضوع عندي كيف مراقب الفريون، كيف راقب الاندور يونت، كيف مأكد انه سبيساتك صح، كيف كومبلاي انت مع الويلنس تبع الريفرجرنت، مش جايب سيرته هون. يعني لازم نكون اوبن.
Wellness of refrigerant.
We are not checking and validating designs, my dear. We are looking for things that are very important related to sustainability in order to give a green building rating. We are not checking your design. هو اللي انت عم تحكي عنه هو اللي they are related to design. قديه بدي احط انا قديه بحق لي احط
في حدا قال كمان في حدا قال commissioning، يعني اليوم ركزت على نقطة الفريون. So during commissioning you have pressure testing of the pipes and you have proper commissioning of the system and operation of the system. After that, the percentage of getting a leak inside the building and causing a wellness issue, we've never touched on or read about. يعني not even happened. It's a very rare occurrence. And you touch on that item. But the system itself, you are right, the VRV system or the PV panels, they have to be maintained, and they're very important to be maintained and will be seen under energy, under the maintenance section.
Or performance test for each system. It could be for the
There is a performance test for each system as a prerequisite to be done annually as well.
But a VRV system that uses a lot of refrigerant, would it qualify for ARZ certification? Because from what I remember, there should be a limited amount of refrigeration being used in any HVAC system.
I'll let the guys Rami respond to what has he put in his requirements under this.
يعني قصدك if you use the VRV system, if you are able to apply for certification?
No, I remember one of the issues was there's a certain amount of refrigerant allowed to be used.
هي direct effect life cycle. Direct effect life cycle of CO2 equivalent. Carbon emission.
Yes, because exactly بيكون عندهم كمان environmental effect. So you were saying there should be a certain limit, or it should be green refrigerant. Yeah. So okay.
So you calculate based on the result of the direct life cycle effect CO2. You calculate the percentage of the score. Okay. هلا بس ال VRV just a note, VRV يعني ما بيصرف أكثر من ال DX. Instead of VRV, if you install DX وكل pipes are running from the roof, تصرف أكثر.
You're 100% right.
سوري رامي تعقيبا على حكي البوينت اللي ذكرها، إذا ما mentioned في criteria حكيت عنه بتدخل فيه GWP
Yes, yes. ODP GWC, sorry. And before the other system, the refrigerant charge, what is the capacity, cooling capacity, what is the leakage rate, life cycle, lifespan of the equipment. It calculates the whole life cycle CO2 equivalent emissions. Okay?
احنا هذا الكرايتيريا خلصنا. إذا حدا عنده بعض أسئلة.
Okay, one question. Honey, the first requirement was that all fresh air fans need a bag filter. So I have, I guess, one remark on the header sheet. And every time we put a bag filter on a fan, the motor of the fan is going to become bigger because there's a lot more pressure drop on the head. Can we? I know that I understand why it's there, but I was wondering, is في alternative or should we put a limit? إنه if a fresh air fan هالقد flow من هالفلو فوق لازم يكون عليه back filter because there's a lot of fresh air being. But if it's this and smaller then. بس عم فكر معك.
صح في كرايتيريا بالانرجي رح نشوفها efficient ventilation systems ذكرين هالنقطة اللي عم تحكي عليها الماكسيموم pressure مسموح انه ما يتخطى.
In this case, you will select not applicable here.
Sorry, with the maximum pressure, but you need a filter for all the fresh air coming into the building.
Yeah.
Whatever is a صغير ولا قليل ولا كتير.
Efficient fans, yes, it's we need to look at that.
صح كمان مذكورة الموتورز يكونوا efficient ولازم إذا فينا نحط VFD كمان بياخد points معهم أكثر رح نشوفهم بالانرجي section.
You cannot sacrifice occupant wellness for reduction of energy. مثل ما عم بتقول يعني عم طفي الضوء بس كرمال ما اصرف energy بس بقى على عتمي. So it's the same.
So can we see here any disinfection for ducts or?
We didn't include disinfection. We looked at ventilation air conditioning ducts are inspected regularly and
for
cleaned.
technical operation, but we need for
Inspected for cleanliness, dust, debris, and algae. Not for leakage and this section.
But now with COVID-19 or either whatever we have, always duct should be cleaned. This could be the minimum required by a green building rating system. Once a year to disinfect it. So it will be trouble either for dust or for any airborne.
Cleaned when and cleaned. Yeah, regularly and cleaned. We did not specify a period, so it's the facility.
Mechanically cleaned something and disinfected as another thing.
Both will be
both
mentioned.
will be required.
Yeah, both will be mentioned. Okay, we'll move on to the next criteria, 2.2, 3.2. Awareness, as we always stress on awareness. Here the awareness is dedicated to the maintenance staff and the training of the maintenance staff on the different areas that we looked at in 3.1, the indoor air quality, the water quality, the lighting quality, and the fire systems. Are the maintenance teams and maintenance subcontractors, if maintenance is outsourced, trained to apply these procedures that we discussed? Wellness is stressed during the training, and the training is repeated on at least every other year. Also, new recruits or new contractors that are introduced to the facility are also trained on the requirements for these wellness procedure and maintenance. And there is also an option to have a requirement, if you can satisfy, is the facility and its maintenance contractors have one or more persons certified in indoor air quality, or water quality, or fire safety. And this will be a plus as well, and you will, the facility facility will have extra scores on that, and the weight of that is also higher because this is not a common requirement that is available. Questions? 3.3. 3.3, we talk about no smoking, and this goes under the discussion if this is a prerequisite or not. But here we're talking about a policy that requests no smoking in the building, near entrances, outdoor intake, air intakes, and operable windows. And how the facility is enforcing this policy through action and through fines if needed. Here, by complying with these two requirements, the facility will get a score of 50%, so this is the minimum requirement. If the facility provides designated outdoor smoking areas, then they have to comply with 4 requirements. A diagram showing the boundary, because people tend to stray away from the boundary of that area. Signage in place for that area, and something to reduce the time of stay in that area. So no food consumption and coffee breaks and all of that are not approved to be to take place in that area. And no entertainment is offered there, so don't sit there for hours watching news or watching ads or something like that.
But this cannot be applicable to restaurant.
Cannot be applicable to a restaurant. This is designated outdoor space.
Outdoor space بمطعم.
Outdoor space بمطعم. It will not be a.
بدهم يدخنوا فيه، بدهم يقابلوا، بدهم ما بعرف، بدهم يطلبوا أكل.
Exactly. So this will, they will not be able to, يعني مطعم will not apply يعني this criteria at all. Yeah. True.
يعني يمكن الريستورانت لازم يكونوا إنه يعني هاي الكرايتيريا تنشال من عندهم. حرام يعني. to be not applicable لأنه.
ما هي it all depends كمان. If these two are becoming prerequisites, then actually there's no score at all. So it's actually not applicable, and they cannot collect the score on that.
Well, I think the design ما في designated outdoor smoking area. There's no designated outdoor smoking area. يرهقني بس confirm.
الديزاين فيه حتى بعيد.
برا بس يكون بعيد عن
حتى signage إنه هالمحل بس you are allowed to تكون.
smoking free completely building smoking free مثل الليد.
إيه بس كيف الفيرجن الليد القديمة؟
هو عم يطلب هلا من جديد
No.
No completely no بس رامي كان confirm أنا بقيت بتذكر.
That's outdoor.
criteria first one is only about inside and near the entrances. هون غير designated area.
إذا حتى بديك جديد هلا صار بالمطار في outdoor smoking area away يعني في لها فتوى يعني إذا واحد فيها.
The ventilation and the family one, these two are also a prerequisite for that family.
ما بياخذ
ما بياخد صورة عليه. هون there he's only satisfying the 50%. So next we go to 4.1.
Sorry, I didn't see any in operation and maintenance request for energy auditing for
In the energy section.
in energy.
section there will be.
No, required each 3 years if the facility exceed 200 kVA, for instance.
In the energy consumption you will see something related to that.
But it's not energy related, it is operation and maintenance management. I have it.
Any operation there is energy consumption tracking,
Okay.
like the water consumption tracking, and we have options of audit or third-party assessment or benchmarking it.